All right, guys, so today we're doing a bit of a different video because I've had some people ask in regards to the editing side of things and how I edit, because I do have to put out, I don't have to, but I do put out one, sometimes two videos per day, and that's can be, well, a lot of work. So how do I film? Well, we'll talk about the filming aspect maybe in a different video, but how do I edit all this, and how do I do it so that I can be fairly time effective, right? And time efficient, I guess, and be able to use my time and be able to produce these videos, for one, in a fairly quick, or with a fairly quick turnaround. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. And I'm actually going to pretend to edit one of the videos. Okay, so number one, first thing to be aware of is this will be really different if you are someone that shoots primarily with just a single camera. And that's a lot of times when I'm shooting my vlog videos, that is a single camera. And a lot of these tools or things that I do can be used there. But because of the fact that I primarily shoot with 3 cameras, sometimes 4 cameras, and like a screen capture, this can change the way that I do things without question. So here's the way that I do things. So number one, when I'm importing, and this, you know what, if you can invest in a couple card readers, this can be a big one. So for me, a lot of times I'm importing 20 or 30 minutes worth of footage or more, basically 3, 4, or 5 times because of the fact that I'm shooting with multiple cameras. So because I shoot usually with 3 cameras, I actually have 3 card readers. So the reason that I do that, and it's not that it necessarily speeds up the import, because it still only imports one file after the other, but I don't have to be here to switch cards. I can literally just go import camera 1, import camera 2, import camera 3. As they're importing, I can go do something else, be it doing some photos or whatever it is. It's just time now that I can spend somewhere else instead of sitting here waiting for that card to import and moving on. So I have 3 card readers. That can be a big one. Even if you're someone that shoots with 2 different cameras, being able to get them both importing and then leave can be huge. So that's number one. I'm going to actually bring up a video that I actually just finished editing, and we'll do a new edit just so you guys can see how I do it. Now, the second part here's the second part. I have, in Final Cut, I have 2 external drives that I use. One is an external solid state drive, and that's the one that I edit off primarily. This is the one that's loading up right here. Plus, I actually have an external, just a spinning drive, and that's my backup. So you'll see what I do after. So you guys can see it on the screen here. This is the video that I actually just finished, but we're gonna pretend and re-edit it again. So you'll see up top here is my Extreme Final Cut Pro, which is my external solid state, and then I have a Western Digital just spinning drive, and that's kind of my backup. So just to kind of let you know what happens here is up here, these are videos that I'm either working on or videos that are maybe they were edited yesterday or possibly the day before. I don't usually let them get too far past that. What happens is once I finish the edit and it's all done, I literally move this whole event, whatever it is, down to here. And that means that it moves all the original files, it moves the edit, it moves the project, it moves all that to my external. So now I have a backup of it. And I could edit directly off this, but it's just something that I use just in case something happens to that external drive and I have to go back. Now I probably wouldn't edit off these, but I could get let's say my solid state broke. I could get a new one and then take this file and just move it back and be good to go. So it's a backup that happens pretty much the moment I'm finished. So as I'm actually exporting the project to the video that ends up going on YouTube, it's also exporting or copying all those files from here to here. So you'll actually see, right? Camera blower, camera blower. It's the same one, right? Firmware short, I think I delete, nope, there it is, firmware short, right? Vlog 48, 49, 50, 48, 40, oh, I don't have 50 down there. So I could, because I just finished that, I just could take that and move that there. You actually see it pop up and say, do you want to copy this? I could do optimize, but I'll let it recreate optimize if it needs to. And just okay. And at this point in time, that is moving. You can see if I click here, media management, it is now copying all these files and everything over. So that's something that I do later on, but it is something that you guys should do. And if I was somewhere like editing out on the road or something like that where I really didn't want to lose anything, I may actually do that step the moment after I actually finish my import, just so I don't lose any of those files. So something to be aware of. Okay, so let's go here and we'll go back to, well, we'll go to this one, this blower short, right? This blower short up here. And is that the right one? No, that's not the right one. Let's go here, camera blower. Okay, so, and I'm going to just make a new project. Okay, new project. And in this new project, I actually don't do a 4K. It is 4K, but I do a custom. So it's a little bit letterbox. So it's basically just 3840 by 1920. So I just set that up. Cool. New project. Excellent. Now, with this video, you can see that I actually had 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 clips, and there is a 5th clip, but this one was just me trying to get a thumbnail. So all I'm going to do is take these 4 clips here. I'm going to highlight all 4 of them because they are, or they should be matched, especially with audio, right? So I'm going to come here, right click on it, multicam clip. Very cool. I'm just going to call it, you know, test, just my test one. Use audio for synchronization. Yep. Okay. Boom. This may take a little bit of time. This is why it's good to do it on a solid state. Okay, so there they are. You'll see the first one, but that's because this camera started first. We're simply going to just drop that down here. Okay, and you can see, you should be able to see, I'll just bring it back to the beginning here. There's all 4 clips showing up right there. Okay. Now, this is the fun part because right off the bat, you will see that Final Cut starts to re-encode all these footage inside a multicam clip so that they're in ProRes. Now, I shoot in 8-bit. I export in 8-bit. I'll do a video why I do that. I don't use 10-bit. I find that it's just a waste, especially for YouTube. And so this is making big uncompressed ProRes files, right? No, I don't care. Don't need them. The computer's fast enough to deal with that. Now, if you're running on a slower computer with Final Cut, and maybe you want to do proxies, this may be a good time to tell it to do proxies, or you may want to do that import to proxies during the import phase. But here it is. Now, here's the key that I use for speeding up my projects, because I shoot in a really flat profile. I actually use what's called a cinestyle plugin by Telesin. And I do that because I shoot on all three Canon cameras, and those 3 Canon cameras are really quite different than R6 and R and RP. And so I can get the color to look really the same with each other. I use this cinestyle plugin or cinestyle preset so that it all has this nice flat. So the bonus of that is if I can color grade one of the clips, I can actually move it to all the other. So this is one of the reasons that I keep a project available to myself. And I always have at least 1, if not 2 projects available. And it's so that I can copy the actual edits or the color grading from that one onto these. So for instance here, we're going to go right here. So this is kind of where I start right there. So I'm just going to get rid of all this stuff because I don't need it. Highlight this clip. You can kind of see how flat it is. You can also see it doesn't take up the full thing because I shoot in a tighter, it doesn't fill up the screen all the way. So there's a bunch of stuff that I need. Normally I have a LUT that I use. Okay. I do some basic color grading. Yep. I do some basic sharpening. And I do an enlarging because I need it to fill the screen properly. So there's a bunch of stuff that I would have to do in all the clips, but I'm not going to. So I take an old one. So let's say that I was using Bob and Brad. Sure, that'll work. And basically once this loads up, you'll see I have a clip like this one, which is the standard like color, standard shot. It's all shot in the same room, all shot with the same lights, etc., etc. So I'm just going to highlight that clip. I'm going to hit Command C on my keyboard, which copies it. Now it copies the clip, but what it also does is copies all the settings. So it copies all of this stuff. So my LUTs, my color wheels, my sharpening mounts, my transforms, my crops, my distort, everything. So now I'm going to come back to this clip and I'm simply going to highlight it. And now this is Command Shift V because that's going to paste the attributes. So Command Shift V, click, and it says, what do you want to paste? I want to paste everything. Yeah, good. Boom. Done. And we now have that color graded. Now I'm simply going to go through here. This is also shot with a Canon RP. So it's going to have the same color on it. So paste, tap, good. This one is shot actually with a Sony ZV-E10, so it's shot a little differently. So I am going to paste it, but I don't do the color wheels. I don't do the position. I do the scale and these ones, and I just boom. Okay, and this one needs a rotation because the camera's inverted. So I just do a 180-degree spin on it. Cool, right? Use this just to kind of move it into place where I want it. Same thing with this. We can move it around. We can scale it if I want to get in closer, however I want to get that in that position I want. Right, done. And I have a screenshot right here. You guys can see it. It shows up the bottom. And I'll get to that one when I need it, or I may just leave it the way it is. It really doesn't matter. Now, last thing before I even start editing is I'm going to go into each of these, and Command 7 gets me into this screen. And you can see I'm a little bright down here. Everything else is pretty good. I'm just going to come in here. Same idea. We're going to just figure out these. And I basically just eyeball it a little bit to get it where I want. Good. Command Shift 7 to go back here. Command 7 to go back here. This one's actually not too bad. I don't mind that. Command Shift 7. This one I think is going to be a little bright. Command 7. So it's good here, but in the inside probably a little bit. So let's bring that down a tad, not too much. As you can see where my blacks are. My mid tones are there. My blacks. Let's just get them up a little bit, right? And I think I might bring my highlights down a tad. Yeah, that's okay. And I may bring my saturation. I can bring my saturation up or down. This shot has a bit more blue in it, so I may actually just bring a little bit more orange in globally, right? Good, nice. And now Command Shift 7 to bring my multi-window back up. And now, honestly, all I'm gonna do now is set it back here. Oh, one more thing before I start. This shot here, the front-facing shot, my Cam 1, you can see Cam 1 here, is where the primary audio is taken. It's taken from my shotgun mic. All the other ones have audio, but it's not the audio that I use. So number one, when you're doing a multicam, you'll see up top here, there's it's like a film and audio. I'm only cutting the film, which means when I cut between cameras, I only want the camera video to be cut. I want the audio to be whatever one I choose. So because of that, I want it under audio here to always be camera 1. So audio, right? Camera 1. Sometimes, depending on how it imports, it could be camera 2. It's always cam 1. So no matter what I'm cutting, it's always going to use the same audio. So now everything should look good. I'm simply going to just go through this. Whoa.
My chair's out of control. So before I even get started,
and as I'm cutting this, right?
I am going to be doing a few photo shoots this spring.
Let's just move it ahead a little bit. There we go. So I'm talking about stuff, right? Usually I just play it. This. So I'm like, click this.
This right here. Not something that I've ever really.
And I'm just going back and forth, right?
But I think it's going to be super handy, and I'm really quite happy to have it. And I want to thank Nightcore here for sending us all this stuff, because nothing nothing is better than making sure all your gear is actually clean. So they sent us all this stuff, and the main piece that we're going to kind of be looking at today, I think, is this one here.
So you can see I'm basically just watching the video. I'm just watching the video, but I'm not necessarily watching this part as much. I'm watching this part, right? This part here, because this part here is where I'm primarily watching myself, because I'm watching where I'm looking. So if I'm looking, you know, down, I know I need to focus on one of these. Then when I'm focusing on one of these clips over here, now I'm trying to figure out which is just a better eye line for you guys to see what I'm doing, and which is just going to represent the shot better. And then lastly, I have the screen capture, right? So if I'm talking about their website or whatever, then I can show you that, right? I can just kind of flip to this one. Now, if you get to this and realize that's not what you want, just go to your point where you did it, and you can click back to wherever you were, which is great. You'll see down here.
We're gonna see what all this is.
Here it is.
I'm gonna tell you what it's for.
Coming up. So I'm gonna split this right here, and I start talking. I just go past all this, okay? And simply I'm gonna delete that piece, a blade. And again, I'm just gonna go back to an old project, because I was there already. So old project, and I'm grabbing my little logo part. I'm gonna copy that, come back to my area here, make sure I'm in the right spot, paste it, cool, there it is. And because it's grabbed from another project that is completed, that means this is got its retiming, it's got its volume, it's got its resizing, it's got everything. I just need to pop it in there. Super nice. Now the other thing that I like too is like, if you look here, there's a pretty big space where I'm drinking coffee, right? Or I'm not talking, or there's silence, because there's a lot of times where I'm just like trying to think of what I need to say next. So this kind of area too is nice, because there's a section here. So I can just kind of be like, okay, from there to here, blade this, just take that right out. And that's a real bonus of shooting with multiple cameras, is that I can really hide those cuts where I stop, because if I am talking about something and then I pause and I'm like, what do I need to say, or I need to look up some information in regards to something, when I come back, I just need to continue, and I'll just cut that whole section up. But when I continue, I'll switch to a different camera so that the cut is pretty much invisible. You don't see that section at a time. Because one of the things I used to do in my old videos, and a lot of people still do this, is because they shoot with one camera, there's these just crazy hard cuts all the time, right? Which can have a look to it, without question. But it looks like you're just randomly cutting pieces out. Whereas this looks like there's some thought process to it, or I had a really good continual thought process, which I don't always have. So really cool. I get through all this, and I basically cut the whole thing just like that, right? So let's say at this point in time, by here, this was the end, done wherever I am. Let's cut here, right? This is it. We're all done. Yeehaw. I have my ending. So I'm going to bring my ending down. And again, my ending, I actually built my ending, which is this one. I resized it. I exported it as its own video clip. And then I just re-import it all the time so that it's easy. I just drop it in the end. It's done, right? The other thing, though, is you'll see my little clips like this one. I'll just go forward to grab one here. And again, I save as much, I grab from other videos as much as I can. So this is my little, subscribe, like, thank you, blah, 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 right? It's here. So I'm just going to copy that. And the same thing is when I'm back here, all I have to do now is paste it on top. And now you got a little, right? Oop. There you go, right? And I usually have it front and back. So I figure out where I want to put it on the front and back. And boom, there it is. That's pretty much it. Once I'm done, I share this out as a 4K video. If I require, or I find, sometimes when I'm editing, I find a good screenshot, like a good clip in there where I do something where I'm like, oh, that would make a good thumbnail. So I come up here and I do a save current frame, and I can take that into like Photoshop or Lightroom or whatever, and I can play with it and do with it as I choose. Sometimes I actually have to go out and take a photo of the project, back and forth. Either way, it doesn't matter. But at this point in time, I'm going to do that export to 4K. And normally at this point in time, I would take that whole event or that whole project and I would move it from the external all the way to the spinning drive, the slower drive, right? So that it copies it all over, which is cool. Now, at that point, I will go have a coffee, or I sit over here on my TV and watch some YouTube while it does this, go look at other videos, etc., and then I do my actual upload to YouTube. Because you want to watch it there to make sure everything kind of works, right? Now, once that's finished, remember I said I have a solid state, which I edit on. I have a spinning 8 terabyte Western Digital that is my direct Final Cut to Final Cut backup. And then I have another Western Digital 8 terabyte, which backs up the spinning Final Cut backup. It's funny, but so at the end of the day, there's like 3 drives going on. So basically, at that point, I have a program here called Smart Backup, and I use it because it's free, and I like free. And it comes up here and basically says, what's your source? And I'm like, it's this one. And it always remembers what you did last time. So my source is my book. It's going to my Easy Store. I hit the start button, and then I go upstairs and try to figure out what I'm going to do for tomorrow. Yeah, that's kind of my whole step. So, or my whole workflow. So basically, import your footage. Again, if you have multiple cameras, invest. It's not expensive to get like an extra card reader. You can get one for like $30-40. It can save you a bunch of time. At least allow you to go spend your time elsewhere while it's doing that. Once it's in there, basically I will multicam it, right? Put it into a multicam. I will look for previous projects that I can grab all the color grading that I did from those, and I will paste them onto the clips here because I don't have to do them independently. Then I'll do some minor tweaking for color grading. Then I do the cut, right? Because it's multicam. It's just bang, 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 bang. Actually, depending on how long the actual video is, that part of it is probably one of the easiest parts. You just kind of go back and forth. It's only when I was filming it, if I didn't talk properly, right? I ended a sentence and I had to think, and I come back and it doesn't fit right. I kind of have to figure out how to move it around. And sometimes cutting out some of the extra stuff that you're just like, that was just me yapping. I add a fair bit to that, but trust me, there's way more that I cut out. And then last but not least is just adding like a lot of the overlays, right? And the overlays you can get wherever you get them from. I think the key here really is keep one of your finished projects kind of as your template. And if you have this template, you can copy it. A lot of people don't realize you can copy from a project, a file, bring it into the new one, and not only just copy the physical video file over, but you can copy that video file's attributes. That to me is probably the biggest part of it. And that copy is just Command-Shift-V, and it'll copy the attributes to the clip that's highlighted. So it works. It works well. All right, guys, that's kind of my workflow. That's how I edit so that I can edit for you guys a video a day. Now I get to go edit this video, and that's it. All right, guys. Oh, yeah, one extra thing, just to throw it out there. If I'm shooting with a Sony camera, like the ZV-E10 or the ZV-1, like this is the ZV-1 right now, and it's on my table, and the sad part is you probably won't notice it, but I bang into the table like I'm moving my arms. So this is on a little tripod, so of course it shakes a little bit. So I'll take this footage before I even start, and I'll run it through Catalyst Browse just to get it as a stable file. That can take a long time. So depending on how long that clip is, sometimes I'll do it here. If it's shorter, for sure I'll run it through Catalyst Browse. This one here, I may run it just through Final Cut's internal image stabilizer just to see how well it does. That's it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that little notification bell. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Later.